Well, hi.
Hello there.
How's it going?
Good. Welcome back to another episode of We've Got This Maybe,
The
podcast. I can't even remember now what episode this is. 28?
Oh, dear Lord. I mean, you're impressive in even remembering some number.
That's good going.
Yeah.
We're over half a year now.
Yeah, we started in January. Because, again, I don't know if the listeners, do they know how we started this? It was basically your husband, wasn't it? Saying, do it.
Well,
daring us to do it.
I think it was us saying, we think this would be a good idea. I would like to do that. And then the peer pressure of somebody then going,
Go on then.
do it.
Yeah. And we were like, fine, we will. We will do it.
I bet you won't do it.
Yeah.
We will. We will do it.
Yeah, because he it was something like he said, yeah, I bet you do one in January. Get one done in January. We were like, yeah, we will.
But I'm so glad we did, honestly.
Me too.
Genuinely. It was one of those Christmas, say you're gonna do it, New Year we'll definitely do it. Is the New Year's resolution gonna stick? And it stuck. So
yeah. And it's been so nice, I think. Like we've really learned, I think, so much about each other as well. And I generally kind of we haven't seen each other in a bit, and it's like, oh my God, I missed you.
I know. We've probably spent more time talking off the podcast than we have recording the podcast for the last few episodes. That probably would have been good content. But that's it does the conversations that we're having, are resonating with us, and it's resonating with the people that's listening, which is exactly why we wanted to do it. So the conversation that we're having today is picking up off the back of a conversation that we've had already. So a few weeks ago, we were having that chat around missing out, the fear of it, us as adults, how our children miss out, and, why we maybe have that anxiety around not being included in groups with friends, those sort of things. So we're going to expand on that slightly and talk about the red flags that we get in friendships and things like that.
I think there's a real, we're all navigating life, right? We all we know that there are certain people who we've probably met, been friends with and gone, shouldn't have really got there or done that. And I think there's maybe some things that we've all learnt that, friends shouldn't have, and we've probably learnt some red flags along the way, right? That we know that we're not going to and I guess as we get older, we're like, I don't have time for that now, thanks.
Yeah.
Jog on.
We definitely, I remember, being at school and there would be the popular kid or the popular group, and you may have had nothing in common with them. You may not have liked anything about them, but because they were the popular kid, you wanted to be their friend. And you would do whatever it would take to be their friend, even if they didn't give you anything.
Yeah. And the interesting thing as well is that I think even when you're at school and you might be vaguely popular yourself, you can't see it because you're so focused on that person, or, if someone else is the person, you're so focused, you can't even recognize the person you are and how amazing you are because you're so focused on other people. And I guess one of the things as well is sort of, I don't know if you get it, but sometimes in groups where, if you're at, good old kids party, one of our gatherings, type of thing where people are talking about something and you don't know about it, the paranoia you get and the anxiety you get from not knowing.
Just that,
and you're like, oh, sorry, oh my God, totally. Oh, so much, right? And you're there going, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about right now.
I have been in that situation a few times. I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, funny.
I'm just going to go check on Sophia. Okay. All right, yeah.
I was like, these people are not my people, but I want them to be my people.
And especially when your people aren't there. That whole thing about when you see your friend and you're like, thank God you're here. Whereas when your friend doesn't turn up and you are there and you have to perform, don't you? And you're like, oh.
So how easy do you think it is to spot the red flags, I guess, in friendships or in people as an adult or as a child. Like maybe as an adult we accept them more and we just get on with it, but maybe as children slightly different.
Can we even teach the kids what to kind of look for? So, you know, those kids that always want it to be their game, not sharing, you know, like, you know, it's not, you know, they want it always to be their version of the game or whatever. It's not like, okay, your turn now. You know, is it that we kind of teach them those kind of, I don't know, like a criteria, you know, of saying like, this is the kind of person, but then are we, you know,
so much is, you know, I don't know what it's the teaching the boundaries, right? But if they're in a small class at school or in a small after school club or wherever they go, there's only a limited number of children there and you don't want them to be isolated. So they do have to learn that sometimes you've got to make the best of a situation and you've got to be accommodating or whatever. But where do you draw the line? Like, I guess you could be like, oh, that kid's not the one that I would really want you to play with, but they're better than best in a bad bunch. Or, you know what I mean? Those sort of things. Hard.
And that's where, again, I guess it's trying to work out how can we give them the right tools, and without this sounding very worky, how can we give them the right tools to navigate and make good choices, like, and say to themselves, like, okay, I don't like you because, you know, you're not being kind to that other boy or that other, you know, you're not respecting that other person. Like, as they grow up, like, how can we give them those things so they can make the choices themselves rather than us going, your friend must be into tennis and live in this area, or you know, like, you don't want to give them criteria like that.
And you also don't want to isolate them. Like, you don't want them to be isolated by being too picky or choosy, because at the end of the day, in adult life, you always have to be around people that you might not necessarily like at work, your boss, your colleagues, your peers, whatever. They're not necessarily going to be your best friends.
So is it that actually, you know how we're talking about unmasking and how this pod is all about kind of unmasking and just being true to ourselves?
Yeah.
Is there a natural role we all have to adopt and the kids will have to learn? So we just kind of get through it and we survive and we do the ha 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 ha, ha, you know, like sort of the masking style where there is almost like a chameleon survival tactic that you need sometimes in life, because you're not going to have your perfect crew around you all the time.
Well, is there ever a perfect crew? I think
that's true. Yeah.
There's in every friendship or every group, there is going to be things or traits or whatever that, you know, aren't exactly what you want.
And do you know what? That's a really, really current sort of thing I've been thinking about lately is when we were younger, and this again, you could be, this is my thing. You could be like, no, Vix, that definitely didn't happen. But when I was younger, I was kind of sold this story of best friends forever. I was sold this forever. So all my friends that I made when I was younger, I was going to be friends with them forever. And then we were going to be friends forever. And again, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It did not happen. None of my friends that I had when I was really young, I am friends with now. None of them.
Yeah.
I know some people do, and I get it. And it's amazing. I mean, God bless the ones that do. Like, geez, like, that's amazing if you've been friends from the age of 3, 4, 5, whatever. Incredible. But I was sold this sort of principle that once you made a friend, that's it for your entire life. And I felt guilty about losing them or not keeping up with them.
Or that you had to stay with them.
Or you were forcing yourself. And like that whole thing of like the ratio of kind of give and take, you know, because like us two, sometimes you message me more than I message you, and sometimes I'm like, then, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? And it's like there's a give and take where I don't feel there's an unbalanced friendship where one's bugging the other more than the other, like, you know, or going, oh, and guess what, you know. Whereas like some of my friends, like I realized maybe about COVID, 6 years ago or whatever, 5 years ago, I realized that I was putting way more effort into friendships than other people were with me. And it was like, sometimes that's okay because other people have got busy lives and what have you. But I think there's a gut feeling. There's something, and that kind of red flagged me a lot. I don't know if you were the same. But in COVID, I really learned, I think, who my friends were.
Yeah, the COVID blur, like the absolute
Survival, yeah.
I such a difficult time, and I think so much of what you're talking about as well is, you know, around those the boundaries thing, and like what we should expect. How do we teach our children what they should expect if we don't know what to expect?
Yeah.
It's so difficult, and it's, you know, what do you allow? Like, I vividly have like some really young memories of, you know, friends when I was a child, and I think you picked up on it, like friends for life, and then you like allow people to get away with stuff. And is that where we start to have loose boundaries, because you think, okay, well, these are my friends forever, like that's just what happens.
And that's exactly it. And I kind of, you know, it's really bringing me back to one particular friendship. And this is, oh God, basically, you know, one of those friendships that I tried so hard with, and I was doing everything, giving everything to their children, to them. I was making myself sort of financially unstable because I was trying to help them out so much. Because, like you say, it's like an excuse because I've known them for so long. It's not their fault. Like, I'm trying so hard to save them. And it took till I was about 30 to make one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. And I still, you know, every birthday of one of the kids or their birthdays just passed, and the pang of guilt I've got that I had to walk away because it was destroying me, you know, and they were ringing me, telling me why I was wrong or why I did this wrong, or, you know, and they've got lots of demons and they've got lots of challenges in their lives. And I was trying to help that, but it was to my detriment. And again, I couldn't see the red flag.
And I think your, you know, helpfulness and all of that comes from, you know, the upbringing that you had. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
probably,
Like,
yeah.
like getting stuff, like having access to that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just wanted to give to somebody else. And like, tell me, like, did your parents cultivate the friendships for you in the way that we maybe do with our children, or were you left to your own devices a little bit?
I definitely think that my parents were similar to what we do, where they found parents that they got on with, and we definitely socialized as the children more. So there was that kind of element to it when you've got a benefit to it. But then I definitely think there was friends of mine that they certainly did not either. I don't want to say approve because that's
Yeah.
you know, but I definitely think there was friends of mine, and to this day, some friends of mine that they certainly they find more challenging to be around. But I think a big testament, I mean, shout out to my mum and dad, legends in their own right, because they have come to many of my house parties.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a testament, I guess, in a way, to my friendships that I've got now.
Yeah.
Because they were willing to go to a, you know, their daughter's house party, you know, where there's drink, there's, you know, like loud music, you know, they're willing to come around to that because they respect the friendships I've got now, but not when I was younger.
And that's so interesting. And I've also got, like, when you were speaking, I was like thinking back about like maybe my own personal experience. And I think I've got like a really like variable experience, I guess, of like my parents and like friends growing up and friendships, because I think like when I was younger, I don't ever feel like we had the same sort of setup that we have now in terms of we've got a friendship group, the kids have got a friendship group, or we have a friendship group because the kids have a friendship group. I don't know which way around it is. But we certainly didn't have any of that. So I don't ever feel like we were like pushed together. And any friends that I did have, you know, my mum wasn't out there socializing with that mum, and like times were different. I don't know that.
Yeah, it was a different time. Yeah,
wasn't what it was like. And say for my brother, like, yeah, he had friends, like we'd come over, we'd go to their houses, but it wasn't you know, we're really pally with the parents situation. So, you know, the friends I have were just like off my own back, and whether my parents liked them, agreed with them, I'm not 100% sure. But But then as we got older, you know, our house, a bit like what you were saying a few weeks ago about like your house being the party house, maybe not so much with me, but certainly for my brother, his friends would come over a lot on like a Friday night because my parents would probably allow things that maybe their families wouldn't do. So they'd like have some beers in the garden, like sit up in the garden on a night or whatever. And I think like my parents were always like really quite relaxed with like what we could do. Like my friends were able to stay. They didn't get hugely involved in it.
So they kind of, they kept the distance. So they let the kids be the kids.
Yeah. Whereas I've got friends that, you know, you'd go to their house and their parents would be like right in it, like so involved at the party. Like that definitely wasn't the sort of thing my parents would do, but they were, you know, they weren't known to be like the strict ones that wouldn't allow it. They were sort of just like there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know whether they did approve. There probably definitely was friendships that they didn't like so much, but whether they would articulate that to me, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's the thing. We never really truly know what did happen when we were younger because, you know, we weren't at that age where we could, you know, our parents could talk to us because we were their kids. Yeah, that was the thing. But I don't know. I think there's a number of things that I've had to learn the hard way.
Okay.
To know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like someone could have told me, okay, if your friend starts doing this, they're not your friend. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know what I mean? Like I've had to be stung. I've had to.
Have you got any examples?
So, I mean, this is when I was really young. Okay. So I remember, and this is really kind of in my brain, is that when I was younger, I had a friend come over as a play date thing. And I was probably, I reckon, 12, 13. And we were in my room, you know, like smash hits, posters on the walls, listening to Madonna's latest album or whatever. And she went home with I don't know, she took like a load of nail varnishes and didn't ask. And I was like, why did you do that when I next saw her? And she's like, well, you can afford it.
Ouch. Okay.
And like part of me was like really confused because I was like, I mean, I guess. And I let it slide.
Yeah.
And then when she did it again, I know this is all really petty because she nicked my hairbrush.
Yeah.
But again, it's that whole thing where she was like, you can afford it. So it's fine. And in my head, I was like, well, I mean, I suppose I can ask mum and dad for another hairbrush.
You didn't understand it.
Yeah, I didn't. It didn't quite kind of register. But then when I got older and I got to uni and people were like coming in, going back to alcohol and partying, but when they were coming over and using my house, like, oh, it's fine, Vix will do it. Oh, it's fine, Vix will feed us dinner. And I was like, no. And then I had a really close group of friends that kind of was like, Vix, do you see what's happening? These people are using you. And it took someone else telling me, but then I was kind of like, still like, no, it's just, this is a really open house and like anybody can come and
you okay it, sort of.
Yeah, and it took me, I reckon, until my 30s to really, truly understand.
So at the time, how did you feel about that behaviour? Because I know I probably had experiences where I knew it was wrong behaviour, but I did just okay it. Whereas, did you know that was wrong at the time?
I think there was a gut feeling that I ignored, definitely. I definitely think like, because I remember, and this is where, again, it's a core memory in my head that this girl took nail varnishes and a hairbrush, and it sounds petty, but it was kind of like she's informing me that I can deal with it. Like, it's fine. You know, you can afford it. And it wasn't like we were, I mean, again, I don't know, because we were so young. Like, I never looked at her as financially different to me. Like, you know, when you're that young, you don't really understand that. But it really stuck in my head.
So why did you remain friends with her?
I don't know. I don't know. I just felt we were friends, and maybe it's the best friend for everything.
Was that it? Did you like her?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely got some things, again, like, God, school. Like, for some people love school, some people like hate school. Like, for me, like school was so mixed.
Yeah, okay.
Like it really was all school, not just senior school, but like junior school, moving into senior school. Like I would say more negative memories than positive for sure. And I remember, with being like friends with people, and I probably really didn't want to be friends with them, and I didn't really like them that much. I was, always the scapegoat. I would be, I don't know, a joke would be made and it would be me, or something would go badly and it was me, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was always like somebody wanted to take the mick and it was me, whatever.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah,
but then I just didn't feel like I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. Whereas in this group, at least I belonged, and that was my role.
That was your role. This is the thing, and this is where I think we all create these things. So it's really interesting. Like Sophia, right? She had that a couple of years ago when we were in another nursery, and and again at the age of 2.5, 3, she created a role to be part of a group. And again, how does that happen? Because they're so young. But again, she was getting bullied by one of the girls, and that's why we left and came to where we go to school.
Yeah, and that's just wild. Like I remember, and this is like how like toxic, but whatever the word is, like this is when we all had like house phones, right? There was so before like social media as we know it now, but like people would use like chat rooms, and this is where we had like IT lessons at school, and in these blooming IT lessons, people were on like chat rooms. Like it's wild. Like
really,
back in the day, like when no one had any knowledge or any real control.
Like
you've got to think how long ago this was. I'm in like like year 7, year 8, like young at like this point, like 13, 14, something like that. And then like somebody must have made up an account of me and then was posting things about other people from me. And I'm pretty sure it was the person that was saying it was about them that was doing it. Like I think it was like all for the drama. Do you know what I mean? And then people would call my house phone, and like I remember like my dad answering the phone, and like people were saying stuff, and I was like, I'm not going to school, right? And knowing who was on the other end of the phone, I know it was them that was causing the beef, right? The drama. And then they're like turning it all around. The minute you get the school involved, everyone's on my side. Oh, we knew it wasn't Erin. We knew this. Like we were calling to check she's okay. And I'm sitting there, you've been calling up my house. Like this isn't like,
oh Jesus, babe, that's awful.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's like, I probably seriously then was still hanging around with those people.
Yeah. No, but you would, because again, it's this, like you say, it's like you've got that role and there's no one else. This is where, honestly, when we first met, like, way back when the kids started, attending nursery together, I was so relieved because my anxiety came from the fact that the intake of kids is never guaranteed. You can't pay, you can pay it top dollar. You can go to the worst school, but again, you can't guarantee the intake. You can't guarantee who's going to be in that room with your child. And again, like, you don't know what's going to happen. So again, the fact that I am so relieved that we do have a lovely class, and the kids seem to be pretty good with each other, because you never know, do you? But that was part of my anxiety, and maybe that, I think there is sort of maybe a part of my past that's kind of triggered that. But I mean, that's awful what you had to go through. That's really unfair.
But why do we allow that?
I have no idea. There's definitely a need for we are, as humans, are built to be part of cultures and communities, right? We definitely are herd like animals.
It's the belonging, isn't it?
Yeah. And it, just listening to what you were just saying, that's breaking my heart, like that you went through that. And obviously I know that you're here and you've learned and what have you, but like thinking if that could be Freddie or Sophia, like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. And to think that all of these people are like like gaining, benefiting, whatever for their own laughs. Like, you know, the more I talk about, like, do you know what? I would never be the sort of person that would come out and be like, oh, I was bullied at school, whatever, because I think how we think of bullying, right, is probably like very different. You know, I was always in, you know, a popularish group. I was never one of like the kids in the other group. And even now, like, I feel bad saying the kids in the other group, because you know the sort of ones I'm talking about, the ones that probably did get picked on. Like, I was always in like a good social circle from that point. But you know, some of the things that I put up with, like, only now as an adult I can realize like how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like, just like awful, like really should. And I really think we should have a conversation about this sort of like bullying that isn't bullying, because to anybody else looking, it wouldn't be bullying, but to me it was awful.
This is it, gaslighting and all this kind of like passive abuse. Do you know what I mean? This is the stuff that really gets to me, and this is where, you know, like I'm one of the ones that was really fortunate that at school, again, extremely fortunate with the intake. I had really good friends. Like, we all were very pleasant. There was no bullying in our year, but the year above and the year below, massive problems. So again, we were just freaking fortunate. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like when I came to, it was like when I, other, you know, circles of friends, what have you, I've had the exposure, but not to the level where I've seen people get, but like you're saying, it's not traditional bullying, but it's abuse. Like that, whatever it is, it's a form of abuse, and you are making someone feel not okay in their own skin. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're making someone feel like they either don't deserve unless they do so and so, or they don't deserve unless they speak a certain way, or they dress a certain way, you know, that whole Mean Girls thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was it? You know, so fetch or whatever.
I have a Mean Girls scenario as well, actually.
But this is it. And like, it was weird. I was watching an advert the other day, and it was advertising Mean Girls is just on whichever, you know, platform it was, whatever TV streaming network show, whatever. And I was thinking, God, we made a film about abuse. I mean, yeah, I get it that it's all funny because she gets them back and all this kind of stuff. But is it okay? It's funny, and because it's caused so much trauma in so many people's lives, you know, and that to me is like almost twisted.
Yeah, and you know what? I sit and I think now, and like, not all the time. It's just sometimes, like, you know how like you're on Facebook and something might pop up of this person. Sometimes I think like, oh, what happened to that person? You know, some people that, you know, did outwardly get bullied, they were those people, and that they had a really rough time. Like, if I feel the way I do, or my situation has impacted me in the way it has, like, what's happened to them?
But that's it. And again, it's whether they've had the right support network around to help them heal. Because it is about healing. It's the fact of really valuing yourself again. Like, I mean, Erin, you're awesome. And like, the fact that someone has done that to you has really hurt me, even though it's like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
it's really upset me that you had to go through that, because nobody deserves it. Nobody. And the problem is as well, and this is where I get quite riled up, is that the bullies are angry and they're evil and nasty because they've been treated unfairly.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. So again, it's this whole thing about passive toxicity where I'm kind of going, do I allow it because, oh, they must be having a tricky time at home, or, you know, it's, oh, I've got to let it slide because they're not happy, or they're just taking it out on me, or just taking it out on whoever or whatever. And I'm like, no, where's like you're saying about boundaries, where is the level where it's not okay? And this is where this particular friend I was saying about before, when she would phone me up and tell me what a bad friend I was, even though I'm getting myself into situations where, you know, my other friends are saying, why are you friends with her? you know, I'm financially compromising myself because I'm desperate to help her out because she's in a really, really hard situation, you know, and there's these kids as well where I'm desperately trying to give them the best start in life. And I had to walk away.
You've got to set the
There's got to be a boundary. And that's the thing. Like, and I think about them so often. And I don't regret what I did, but it breaks my heart that I had to. But again, it's like that toxicity that really gets you. This is where, again, it's like, how do we spot those red flags so you don't get into the situations both you and I have experienced in different age, you know?
Do you think your boundaries, I guess, have changed, like, since you've become a parent? Because I think maybe because I don't feel so lonely, loosely I'll use that word, lonely, because, you know, I'll always have my children. My children will always want and need me, you'd hope, you know, because I've got that. I feel like maybe my boundaries are stronger because I don't feel I need you because I've got this instead. Does that make sense?
I totally see where you're coming from because, yeah, absolutely. There's something that you can rely on because you're growing together, aren't you? Like, you know,
Yeah,
you're building that relationship with them. I think from my side, I've learned what true friendship looks like, so I know. And through that, and I think I've mentioned this before on the pod, where it's taken me being around people who have been in really highly stigmatized situations to really truly learn what the value you have to have in yourself before you can value others. Like, I really truly now know what friendship looks like, and I really value those who I have time for. And I'm happy with 2 friends over 20. I'm happy with 1 friend over 100. Like, to me, if I've got a true friend that I can totally go, okay, don't hate me, or, you know, like, and the other person go, why would I hate you? Like,
yeah,
it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be a bad thing. Like, they're just going to be like, look, I get that you're angry. I get that you're having a tough time. But here's the truth. I love you. But, you know, or something, do you know, someone who you can trust? And that's going back to that thing that I was saying about sort of those ride or die friends. You know, it's those people that you can really trust and be yourself and take your mask off to and just be yourself, because that's what's really, I think now, I can now be myself and truly own who I am because of them. And when we were younger, we didn't have that.
no,
We could never be who we were because we didn't trust our friends. We, you know, we were desperately trying to be part of something. It's always like, you know, I always tell, I do career coaching, and I always say to my sort of mentees, I always say to them, like, when you go and for a job interview, it's like a first date. Because what you're automatically doing, you're trying to impress the other person.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, you need to impress each other. And if it does not work, if it does not seem right, if you're pushing, and there's nothing you're getting back, it's not right. There's got to be a mutual friendship, like, role, you know? Yeah, you could be the one that always, like, nags the other person, but there's got to be a value that you get back in another way, you know? And how, again, going back, circle back round, how do we teach 5-year-olds that? How do you teach, like,
and that's
10-year-olds that?
It's so hard, and I'm so conscious of, like, that experience that I had and the children having that experience, because, you know, I don't think my parents really had any idea, like, what my situation was. Like, I know we had like tattletales and stuff in the school playground, and like my parents might have been told about that, but like the gravity and actually the impact and the influence that those situations have had on my life, you know, well, how do we approach it? How do we navigate it? Like, do we even know? Like, we, at the moment, our kids being at school, we're relying on either our children or the teachers.
Yeah.
Telling us what's going on. And if they're not seeing it or they're not telling it, how do we know? Or how do we know what their children are internalizing?
But that's one of the most painful things, is that, you know, you and I both have talked about this before, is that we are not the biggest influence on our kids anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Devastating. The fact that the school, the teachers, their classmates, social media,
Other people's parents,
they are more influential than we are now on our kids. And it's like, so that's where, again, like you're saying about curating who they hang around with more, you know, you're kind of looking, okay, well, she's got better like life stuff than this person over here. But even though, you know, Sophia loves hanging out with this person, but she can be a bit selfish. Like, how do you do that? How do you kind of go, well, actually, that person's better for you, but you don't want to do that, do you?
Well, I feel like we're in this stage that all we're going to be doing now is letting go more.
Oh, do you know what? That is a whole episode. And I tell you why. I tell you why, Erin. Because we've been through it once with Maddie when she was 15, like letting go of the control and trying to give her boundaries. But then George and Maxwell now, they're 10 and 13. They don't want to come around here anymore. Well, they do. Obviously they do. But they've got mates. They want to go out with them. They want to play on their bikes. They want to go play football. They don't want to be dragged halfway across Surrey to come see their dad and, you know, the family over here. I mean, don't get me wrong. They do love coming here. They have said it to us. We do know. But at the same time, we need to start accepting that they won't always want to.
I know,
and it's not us. It's their friends are taking the priority. It's changing, you know, and it's heartbreaking for me as the stepmom. How heartbreaking is that as the parent who isn't with his kids 24/7? It's hard. And I think that's a real episode for us to kind of get into, because the fear of it coming, but also like, yeah, how it's happening at the moment is so tricky.
I think we've just got to, you know, we've got to just instill like good values, good morals, like it's like self-worth, belief, all of that sort of stuff in our kids, and just hope that they can navigate the situations better. Like, I don't know, like this one's like got me stuck a bit, because I don't know, because we're all guilty. Like, even now, like, I'm sure I still overlook red flags. Like, I'm sure I've got plenty of people
that all do in
that's
a
on
way.
My friend roster that are still potentially letting off a little flag every now and again, and you just look past it.
And I guess and again, you know how I was saying about how like I value my friends now, and they've taught me stuff, and they've valued me, and I valued them, blah, blah, blah. I generally feel there's what maybe could qualify as a red flag that can be overridden by the majority of everything else. And you can kind of justify it. Should we justify it is the question.
But then warts and all.
But that's it.
Yeah, you take your... Like,
that's the thing.
It's like you having that conversation is, oh, I didn't agree with this but, or I need to tell you this but is...
Yeah, because that's where, like, you know, literally you and I said to each other just before we started this episode, I promised you that if you were ever a dick, I'd tell you. Didn't I? I said that to you. And I said, I hope you do the same with me. Because again, that's what I see a friendship as doing now. I can't be doing with all this, you know, masking and pretending. And I need you to tell me if I'm being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
If I was being out of, like, no way should I have said whatever I said, or did whatever I did, or acted, and like, come on, Vix, that was not right. Like, I need you to tell me, because I'm getting old and I can't be asked anymore. It's like, you need someone to help me. Do you know what I mean? And that's where, like, friendship should be, that it's a space that's trusted enough that it's not you being horrible to me. It's you telling me what I need to hear, and me going, okay, I love Erin, and I trust Erin enough to know that she's not doing this to be a dick, to tell me, you know, she's doing this because she loves me. So again, it's like creating those environments.
Yeah. And it's like, now, I guess, the older you get, like, it's less one-upmanship, because I think, you know, maybe some of those experiences that I had with the people in my school was maybe to give them some kudos. Like, maybe they were trying to score points with other people, and that's how they were doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Whereas I just don't need that now. Like, I just don't feel like you've you've got that. I'm not competing with anyone for anything, certainly not competing for friends. And so, you know, I don't need to do something to you to score a point with somebody over there.
Do you know, I heard a really funny thing the other day. It was obviously when I was doom scrolling somewhere. But you know how people say about your inner child? This guy, it was a video, and he was saying, you know, people talk about inner child. I think I've got an inner old woman, because at the moment I really don't give a flying, you know, about what people think anymore. I will say what I think, and that's it. And it's kind of like we all should be there, but I don't think that is ever really gonna. I'd love to be there, but there's always, I don't know, there's always maybe it's a Britishness thing. We don't want to kind of, you know, offend anybody.
Well, sometimes I do say things because I open my mouth before I think about it, and my social awareness.
Say this, but I have been in plenty of social situations with you, and you have never once done that.
Oh, good.
And I promised you, like we did about an hour ago, and I said to you, like, I promised you, if you ever did, I will tell you.
Oh, good.
And I swear to God, like in our friendship so far, there has not been one. And again, it's that paranoia that you've probably got from.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Say
you're amazing. You're such a, you know, you're so thoughtful as well. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that there's those other skills that you have. Like, it's not just all about being sociable and about being like the life of the party. You know, there's so many different skills that we can have as friends to give to each other to help us all through. Because again, do we have it? Do we not?
Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We're not entirely sure, are we?
No. And I mean, these kind of conversations show that we still are navigating such a, you know, so many different things in life.
I feel like we're in this like whirlwind state at the moment. I feel like we've, you know, maybe this is what our summer holidays are doing to us. You know, our kids are moving up, they're progressing into the next year. We've got all of these new challenges. Like, our heads in a spin. So much stuff to navigate. And I don't think it gets easier. I don't think it gets harder. It just gets different.
It is different. It evolves. This is the thing. I think evolve is honestly, if I had £1 for every time I say evolve. But it's my word of the moment, because it's generally about, I don't think we change, we just grow. And whether it grows into a more challenging environment where we don't understand it. It's a bit like, you know, when you see, you know how we love the pool guy? When he starts off with that dirty pool, do you know what I mean? Like, he gets through it and he has to go one stage at a time to get through it.
Yeah.
So again, we've just got to do the same. And like, it's that whole thing of not blaming yourself. Like, we're not all bad people. We're not all sat there going, haha, I'm going to say this, so this person feels really bad about themselves. Like, we're not that's not the way we're brought up.
No.
That's not the way we think.
And I do think, like, maybe we're the good, fine people we are because of the experiences that we had.
But that's it. It's using your history and the experiences you have to make you who you are, but they don't necessarily have to inform where you go. You have that choice in the present to make the next best choice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You try and make them always next best choice every time.
Love that.
Going very deep, Erin.
We are.
Come on,
we are. Thank you. That's a good one. Another good conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. If you've got anything, any feedback, like, we always love to hear from you. Drop us a message, like, follow, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And hello to some more new listeners. We've had another flurry of new followers and subscribers and stuff. So if you haven't already, please join our gang and get involved in our little conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we do have obviously loads of convos lined up, but I mean, if you've got any burning question,
I know, we'd love that.
We are all ready for it.
I know, we're ready. Wow, fab. All right, thank you.
Cheers.
See ya.